Here we go, part 2. So, I was talking to you on my first part of the message about meditation. And the word meditation is a Tibetan word that means to become familiar with. And I was saying that just like a person building a home, that you first need to make the blueprint before you begin to build. So, when you have an idea of something that you'd like to create or something about yourself that you'd like to renew, the first thing that you want to do is to create an image in your mind of what that is that you would like to be and kind of entertain the idea, just like you would if you were going to build a home. You know, you want to first sit down and start thinking about the things that you want to have. When our builders built our home, the first thing they said was, we'd like you to sit down and together, you know, write out a wish list of all the things that you'd like for your home to have. And so that kind of gets your creative juices flowing. So when we're setting out to create a new mindset, to create a new image of ourselves, the first thing we want to do is not necessarily so much focus on the old, you know, because what happens when we do that is we end up suspending in our mind and replaying those old things over and over again. Sometimes those things are going to surface, and of course you see that, you know, that triggered tears for me again. I mean, it does have emotion tied to it because I love and I miss my sister. But I also know that I have to be bold and I need to have courage and I need to be able to step out and speak my voice, because if I didn't learn anything else, the thing that I did learn is that I need to be strong and I need to speak my truth and to do it in love. Now, I don't want to sit and bash, like I said before, I don't want to bash my family. You know, we all have things in our past, memories, things that, you know, maybe we're not so proud of, or things that we'd like to change or make different. But the first thing we need to know is that we all have kind of these emotional kind of addictions, I guess is what you would call them. You know, sometimes people will get caught in a pattern of, like I said, trauma, abuse from maybe the past, or maybe an addiction. They'll use a substance of some sort to try to numb themselves so they don't ever have to feel the pain or necessarily deal with making these changes. And it's sad to me that sometimes these changes have to come as a result of some trauma or crisis in a person's life, when truthfully we can all create and joy. We don't have to wait until we have the most horrific thing happen in our life to begin to create from this state that's available to all of us. You don't have to do it just because, you know, something terrible has happened. You can do it if it's because you want a new job, maybe because you have an artistic ability or some type of a trade that you'd like to learn, or something new that you'd like to do. You know, everything that it comes into being begins in the creative mode in our heart and in our mind. And so I talk a lot about mind renewal, but I also want you to understand that this isn't just for traumatic experiences. Like I said, sometimes those things happen in order for people to make a move, for them to do something different, to shake things up. But truthfully, you know, we all came here to have an experience, and our soul truly always wants expansion, because the consciousness is always expanding and growing. And, you know, sometimes people just kind of get stuck, that they'll say, in a rut. And they'll keep on repeating the same thing, even though the soul truly just really wants to have these new experiences. And, you know, Jesus said that he came that we might have life, and life more abundantly. And people, I don't think, realize that a lot of times things that are like subconscious thought patterns kind of hold us back from some of the greatest things that we could ever experience in our life. They keep us from actually living our dreams because they're things that are rooted in fear. Fear could be, you know, fear of rejection, fear of failure, you know, fear of embarrassment. I mean, lots of different things like that that are rooted in fear. But where do those fears really come from? I mean, in truth, we really need to begin to value ourselves and the life that we came here to live, and to enjoy our existence here, because, you know, it's such a gift and it's such an honor. And why wait until something horrible happens in your life in order to begin to realize that you have this creative ability within yourself? And As I mentioned, Dr. Joe Dispenza, he is an amazing neuroscience doctor, and he tells about how his whole life completely took a turn after he had an accident. He was 24 years old. He had his own private practice as a can't think of the name of it. Anyways, he taught martial arts. He was an expert in martial arts, and he taught that on the side, but he also had a chiropractic practice. That's what it was. And he got run down by a vehicle on his bicycle in a triathlon race and landed on his butt and had 6 vertebrae in his back that were broken, crushed. And they wanted to do a radical surgery on him where they would cut off the back side of the spine and run rods up the back and then paste on pieces of bone from the hip. And then he would, have a small chance of ever being able to walk again. Anyhow, he decided to go and do meditation and see if he couldn't get in touch with the divine organizing intelligence of the universe that was within him. He knew and understood that there is this intelligence. And, everybody has, some people say God, some people say, source, some people say the divine matrix, some people say vortex. You know what, to me, those are all just words. The truth is that we all have this life force in us, and it's available to all. And it's a very loving intelligence that wants to give you life and life more abundant. But it can only give you according to what you put out. I mean, if you're thinking and feeling and emoting always from a negative perspective, well, then you're putting out that vibration. That's the frequency that you're putting out. And the world then is obliged to bring back to you a manifestation that is a match to the frequency that you're putting out. And that's what I had to learn through this experience, that, as my sister said to me, you're allowing all these things to influence your perception. But you don't understand, Cindy. You just don't understand. So I had to learn to gird up the loins of my own mind and stop being a victim. Too many of us do that. We adapt ourselves to a victim mentality. We have memories from our past and, think about the abuses and things like that. And we end up, denying ourselves of our true divinity and the power that is within us to create the life of our dreams. And we stay stuck. Well, I just want to encourage you today that you, maybe if you'd like, you could listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza. That's Dispenza. He has a million YouTube videos that you can just go to YouTube and look up Dr. Joe Dispenza and listen to any one of his videos and be encouraged with that. He's an amazing teacher, and he does a lot of workshops where he teaches people how to actually renew their mind, how to get into these meditations. He's very passionate about it because he did it with his own life. He literally, after that accident, when he began his meditations, it only took the man 10 weeks to get up and walk out of that hospital, when at first they told him if he didn't have that surgery, he would not walk again. He got up and he walked out of the hospital, and he was back to working his chiropractic practice after 11 weeks, and after 12 weeks he was back to instructing martial arts again. So the power is in us. It can be done. And he made himself a promise while he was laying on that table or in that hospital bed, that if he got up and walked out of there again and this worked for him, that he would devote the rest of his life to teaching people the practice of how to change your mind. He would get into learning more and more about neuroscience, and he is an amazing teacher. So that's where I've learned a lot of my things, and he's a very a very faith-filled person. So maybe just give that a listen, and it won't be long. I'll be back to talk with you some more. I just wanted to give you that word today to encourage you, maybe give you a little direction. And as I said before, don't wait for something dramatic or some crisis to happen in your life before you decide to take hold of the power that is within you to live the life of your dreams. It's truly up to you to decide when, where, and how. And I will be back again to share some more. Have a great day. Be blessed.